Welcome to episode number 239 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for all of you marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. We're recording live on YouTube on August 17, 2018. A ton of things to talk about this week, as usual. Among them, Asteroid Aretha, new Facebook pages, grumbling Googlers, VanGoghs, augmented lipstick, literal photoshops, mass-produced meaning, Twitter disinvites developers, Ajit Pie's lies, Google tracking, virtual mobs. We talk about politics, and we have a big story about that at the end of the show, so stick around for that. But we started off with the best story of the week, and BL, you have the honors. What was the best story of the week?
Well, there's good and bad to this story because we lost Aretha Franklin yesterday, and that's just as sad as I could be. But NASA took note of that, and they tweeted, "We are saddened by the loss of Aretha Franklin. Asteroid 249516 Aretha, found by our NEOWISE mission and named after the singer to commemorate the Queen of Soul, will keep orbiting beyond Mars." And then they tweeted from the moon and said, "We're very sad to hear the Queen of Soul passing. Rock steady, Aretha, from your steady rock out in space." And there was a picture of the moon. And then there was the president who tweeted, "Aretha Franklin worked for me."
Okay. Meaning she showed up at one of the casinos, I suppose.
Who knows?
Yeah. So one of my proudest moments was turning one of my nieces onto Aretha Franklin. I got her the complete set of basically the best of complete set, which is like a triple album, I think.
I have it.
of Aretha Franklin's hits, and turned her on to Aretha Franklin. So yeah, that's sad, but so much she left her. I mean, I'm astounded. She was, I mean, her whole life story is amazing. She was a mother at 12 years of age. Can you freaking imagine that? Mother of two by 15. Amazing singer, amazing pianist, a civil rights leader. Just an amazing story, and left behind such amazing music too. So beautiful voice.
Stevie Wonder said this morning, and I've seen other people say the same, that when she took one of your songs, you didn't get it back because you didn't want to do it anymore. Because she did. But I think it was Lionel Richie this morning saying that the first time he met her, he came into her house, which was actually like a mansion in Detroit because her father was a minister, and they lived in a really nice house. And he hears this person playing the piano and singing, and it was 5-year-old Aretha Franklin playing and singing very much like she sounded as an adult because she always had those pipes.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song?
Oh God! Well, when I first heard about it, I posted a video of her in the Blues Brothers movie doing "Respect." So that is one of mine, and I had to post that one because of all the respect I have for her. So
there's so many. There's just so many. But anyway, I think I'm happy to know she'll be up on the moon.
Literally in the stars.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. So from one artist to another, this is a great story from Adweek's Jessica Salima about the brand Vans getting inspirational. They have partnered. They've got a new collection called Vans X Van Gogh Museum Collection, in which is, as you imagine, it's a fusion between high art and everyday fashion. They launched this collection on August 3, and it's a result of the collaboration with the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. Features one of my favorite painters' works, including Skull, painting almond blossoms, sunflowers. We used to have that hanging in my home growing up. The self-portrait as a painter, old vineyard with peasant woman, but no Starry Night, curiously. Van Gogh, the museum will dedicate its profits from the project to the preservation of Van Gogh's legacy and his collection of art to keep it open for future generations. But in just a week, the collection sold out at Vans.com, as well as the Van Gogh Museum's online shop. So clearly popular, but I'm going to scout around and see if I can find my set.
Wait, are you saying that the Van Gogh paintings are on the shoes?
Yes, they're.
Oh, I want them.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So, so I need to get me some expressionist kicks.
Wow, what a cool idea. I like that a lot. So this week, there's been a big brouhaha at Google, and Google employees are protesting secret work that Google's been doing on a censored search engine for China. And so on Thursday, CEO Sundar Pichai admitted to employees during an all-hands meeting that the censorship project, which has the code name Dragonfly, is in exploration stage for quite a while now. And he emphasized his belief that Google should return to China, but claimed that the company was not close to launching a product. So during that meeting, somebody was live tweeting to her, was giving information to a reporter who was live tweeting it. I mean, the whole thing got really crazy. But what happened is more than 1,400 Google employees who were upset at the company's decision to secretly build a censored version of for China, they signed a letter demanding more transparency, and they want to have Google understand the ethical consequences of this kind of work. And the New York Times obtained the letter, and they said that Google's willingness to abide by China's censorship requirements raises moral and ethical issues, which, yeah, it does. And so currently we don't have the information required, the letter says, to make ethically informed decisions about our work, our projects, and our employment. And earlier this year, Google employees were successful in getting the company not to renew a contract for artificial intelligence work with the Pentagon. And because they felt that that could be used for evil, that contract was codenamed Maven. The Committee to Protect Journalists is among the very many who are crying out against this, including human rights groups and this is surprising to me because you can't get this to happen anywhere. A bipartisan group of 6 U.S. senators condemned it as deeply troubling. And so we'll see what happens. But, you know, it's a touchy issue because Google's all about money, and they would make a lot of money and their stock would go up. And, you know, it's going to be hard to do for them to go on the side of not allowing censorship.
Well, I mean, Google starts out as it seems to me they started out as a company, as a search company, as a company that's dedicated to communications technology, and they branched out in so many different areas that having that you know, if you join Palantir, you know what you're getting into. You know that you're going into espionage and stuff like that. But if you join Google, you're probably not thinking that you're going to be dealing with some of these other things that the company has, as it's expanded, gotten into, like Pentagon projects and so forth. So yeah, that's that's going to be an issue.
Well, we have another story in the worst subjects of the week that is also about Google. But, you know, the bottom line is we are not paying to use search. We are not paying to use YouTube. We are not. So we made a deal with Google, and, you know, Google needs to keep up its end of the deal, which is to not be evil. And a lot of people think that would be evil.
Yeah. Well, no transition here, but new features to Facebook. This is from a Facebook blog post by Alex Himmel, who's VP of Local for Facebook. They're updating the pages. So if you are an administrator of a page, you have probably been getting notices all the time about them having a new layout for business pages. They're redesigning the pages for mobile so that users can now make reservations at a restaurant, book an appointment at a salon, and you'll be able to see more photos, upcoming events, and offers visible on the page. And you also see stories on the page. They are making recommendations more prominent on pages. So when there's actually a status update feature for making recommendations that individuals can use. So that type of stuff is going to be showing up more prominently on pages. For events, you can buy tickets directly from the event on Facebook. They're expanding the job application feature to be available to everybody in the world now. And then for local marketing, so you can now browse a local section in your Facebook app or a standalone Facebook local app for businesses that are around you, places that are most recommended, see events where your friends are attending. So these changes, you'll remember that Facebook's algorithm de-emphasized years ago the amount of reach that Facebook pages would have with their own followers. Over time, Facebook business pages have become less and less valuable. I kind of recommend people that they have one so that you can advertise.
Yeah.
But that's kind of all it's worth. Show company culture for people that do visit your page. But now with these changes, they could become more important, especially for local businesses, especially with the recommendations and that stuff. You'll need to think about optimizing your pages for local discovery using these new features. So we'll see how it rolls out. But that's my initial take on it.
Well, LinkedIn has gotten pretty clunky to use, and it doesn't have any real competitors. So it's an opportunity for Facebook to perhaps get away from the issues it's really dealing with in terms of news and do more in the area of business and see if the Russians interfere with that. So I don't have any more good news. All the rest of my news is horrible.
All right. Well, I got a couple. I'll run through them. They're pretty good. This is from a Media Post article by Chuck Martin. L'Oreal, the beauty company, the makeup company, has acquired a while ago augmented reality company named ModiFace, and now they are planning to put that technology to work via Facebook. It's a long-term collaboration deal between L'Oreal and Facebook, who are going to create AR experiences to be delivered through Facebook camera products. The idea is to allow consumers to use augmented reality for makeup try-on experiences for brands that include Maybelline, L'Oreal Paris, Lancôme, Giorgio Armani, Yves Saint Laurent, and others that I don't know who they
pronounce.
Are. So, yeah.
Well, that's big fun, I mean, that really is big fun. It's never really worked up until now, so we'll see whether they can make it work.
I'll put a video in the show notes because it does look like you'll be able to try on lipstick in real time using the app and see what it looks, different shades of lipstick, and see what it looks like on you. So well, the video looks pretty cool. So whether it works actually, that remains to be seen, I guess. But cool.
That sounds like lots of fun.
This speaking of fun came from Boing Boing's Andrea James, and who reports on a Photoshopper named James Fridman, who takes badly phrased Photoshop requests to the letter, which is obviously not what the requester expected. So this person, James Fridman, takes requests from people to Photoshop their images, but takes them literally. So if you don't phrase your request properly and grammatically correctly, you may not get what you want. So an example of it is there's somebody who asked, quote, "Can you please adjust the picture in order to make me look as if I am holding that cliff? In the distant background are cliffs." And this is a picture of a woman holding her arm out flat, with her palm upturned, and the cliffs are higher than her palm is upturned, and she wants to make it look like the cliffs are settling in on the palm of her hand. So he photoshops the image, and instead of putting the cliffs on the palm of her hand, he takes her arm and moves it from her shoulder down to her rib cage. So examples like that are just hilarious. There's a 7-minute highlight reel that just will have you rolling on the ground in laughter, and sometimes touching, because some of the requests are are things like there was a woman who said, I'm a very slender woman, and people always ask me if I'm anorexic, and I'm not, but can you make a Photoshop of me to make me look what I'd look if I had several more pounds on me? And he said, you know, what other people think of you is not your concern. You're fine just the way you are. Stay healthy and stay happy and everything. So he didn't do a Photoshop, but left a very thoughtful, encouraging message for her as well. But very cool. So we'll put a video, we'll put that highlight reel on the show notes at beyondsocialmediashow.com/239. Lastly, this is my last best one. We'll get to the worst. This is too long, didn't read, but it's a great, too long, must read. It's a great article. You need to read it. It's called The Death of Don Draper. It's a New Statesman article by Ian Leslie. And yeah, and he talks about, I was all ready to call BS on it when I saw the headline, which is it was basically an argument of micro-targeting versus traditional advertising. And one of the lines that the concept that you take away from it is that messages can be micro-targeted, but meaning has to be mass-produced. And so I'm just going to read a passage from the article to illustrate that. He says, trust, too, the very act of advertising in public tends to make a brand more trusted, since people can see it has a social reputation to maintain. When ads are invisible to people outside their target audience, it's easier to send messages that would fare badly in the light of public scrutiny. For political actors, Facebook is a dog whisperer's paradise. Researchers have consistently found that ads in broadcast media are taken more seriously than online ads. One reason for this is that people can see that other people can see them too. Even Mark Zuckerberg understands this at some level, seeking to restore trust in Facebook in the wake of the Cambridge Analytica scandal. He ran full-page ads in newspapers. So it's something that I never hadn't thought about in this context, but I had made the argument that kind of in the wake of Flickr, the iconic images are dead. It's not true, but this is, if you're thinking of traditional advertising, is something you need to think about in terms of trust in your brand. So it was a fascinating article, and you should read the whole thing.
Well, you should not put all of your eggs in one basket,
right,
no matter what you sell.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's just that simple. But in terms of those Facebook ads, they were very surprising when they suddenly turned up in the subway and at the bus stop and, you know, all over. Like you just could not see them. And then they were on TV, and, you know, now they're gone, which I find very interesting.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
so does that bring us to bad news, Dave?
It does. Go ahead. What do you got?
Okay, well, in terms of not building your house on someone else's land, and we've talked about this before, this week Twitter cut access to its API, and many third-party developers depend on that. And it's not unexpected news. They've been saying they were going to do it, but a lot of developers did not pay attention to warnings. So Twitter's Senior Director of Data Enterprise Solutions said, his name is Rob Johnson, he said, we feel the best Twitter experience we can provide today is through our owned and operated Twitter for iOS and Android apps, as well as desktop and mobile Twitter. In other words, get out of our house. And so that makes toast out of a lot of third-party apps like Tweetbot, Talon, Twitterific. And in the name of standardization and simplicity, Twitter says the move is part of a broader realignment of Twitter's resources and offerings. And they also removed support for Twitter from Apple Watch and Twitter for Mac, replacing its previous version of Twitter for Windows with its own progressive web app. And last year, they warned developers they'd be retiring and replacing several features like site streams, user streams, and legacy direct message endpoints. So here's the bottom line, folks. You know, don't build your house on someone else's land.
Yeah, and it really sucks because they're squeezing back and pulling back on the access to the API has really turned a lot of tools that I use into a lot less valuable tools. BuzzSumo has become less valuable as a result. I mean, it's still a great tool, but it's become less valuable as a result of API restrictions. I just re-upped with Follower Wonk, which is a Twitter tool that you subscribe to that I've been using for years, and was recently spun off. It used to be owned by Moz. But I haven't even tried it yet. I don't know whether that's, it sounds like that very well could affect
I need Follower Wonk. That's a really important one. I hope it's going to work. Well, but you know, this is like the people who blog on platforms that are not their own, and you know, there are so many companies that try to build on other companies' successes, and sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. And you know, but they were warning the companies, so they should have been thinking of other things to do.
Yeah, yeah. So this a lot of people wrote about this story, Wired among them. Emily Dreyfus wrote it up for Wired, but Ajit Pai, you'll remember, trolling everybody with his quote unquote viral videos about why net neutrality is why the killing of net neutrality is not that bad. And you'll also remember that when there was a public comment period for the plans to kill net neutrality, the FCC's website went down and people weren't able to comment during the comment period. A lot of people weren't as a result of the site going down. It was John Oliver on his show told people to go to the website and comment using pro net neutrality comments, and because the site went down, a lot of people couldn't. For a year though, the FCC has said that the site got hit by a cyber attack, a distributed denial of service attack. But a report from the FCC's own Inspector General this week found, quote, rather than engaging in a concerted effort to understand better the systematic reasons for the incident, certain managers and staff at the commission mischaracterized the event to the office of the chairman as a result, resulting from a criminal act rather than the apparent shortcomings in the system. It concluded that the site was a result of poor site design, a lack of readiness to handle massive traffic, and a surge in visits from obviously John Oliver. But the FCC ignored warnings that the fans of John Oliver would likely flood the site. And I've seen other reporting that Ajit Pai knew that the characterization of it being under attack from a DDoS attack was not true. So that's not a big surprise. But
that's our government for you. I mean, I was at a meeting a couple of weeks ago with Quirky.com, and it was about patents and how to apply for a patent. And there was someone there from the patent office. And in the Q&A period, after she had explained that it takes like years for a patent to be approved, and more years if it's an app or, you know, something digital. So I just like raised my hand and I said, well, are you using AI? And she said, we're looking into that. You know, this is the government. This is our tax dollars in action. What can I tell you? That's inexcusable, absolutely inexcusable. So also inexcusable is that apparently Associated Press discovered that Google tracks you even after you turn off location services. So there was a Wired story by Emily Dreyfus, and she said, you know, if like most people, you thought that Google stopped tracking your location once you turned off location history in your account settings, you're wrong. And AP published on Monday that even if you disable location history, you're still tracked every time you open Google Maps and get some automatic weather updates or search things in your browser. In other words, when you use Google. So there is a way to stop it, but it takes quite a lot of digging. And since this problem affects about 2 billion people with Android and iPhones who run Google Maps on their devices, that's a bit of a problem. So the support page for managing and deleting your location history says that once you turn it off, quote, the places will no longer be stored. It's off for all devices associated with your Google account. But no, that's not true. AP found that, in fact, turning off your location history only stops Google from creating a timeline of your location that you can view. Some apps will still track you and store time-stamped location data from your devices. More specifically, AP was able to track a Princeton researcher whose name is Gunas Akar. They found his home address, his daily activities, just using Google Web and App Activity that he shared with them. So finding those settings is deep down inside your apps and accounts, but Wired has step-by-step instructions that we'll include in the show notes.
I don't know. If you don't want to be your location tracked, then take your computers offline, your like desktop computers, take them offline. Don't be on Wi-Fi. Don't be on Ethernet. Don't carry a phone around with you wherever you go.
Go live in the woods.
Often don't drive a car. It's like that's kind of unavoidable. And turning off all those features really destroys a lot of the utility. I mean, you can't use Google Maps if Google doesn't know where you are.
Yeah, but there are safety issues. There really are.
Well, of course there are, but there's a lot that story doesn't go into in terms of. I mean, I'm all for privacy and all, and I understand why people are concerned and everything, but yeah. Anyway,
a lot of people don't agree with you.
Well,
let's put it that way.
Well, they do. They don't agree with me, but they still want all the benefits of sharing. Sharing where they're at and everything. So, I couldn't find my way anywhere without GPS. It's just a lot easier to have Google Maps tell me where to go than to try and figure it out myself.
I don't drive a car, so I don't have that issue. But this week I interviewed JT Kosman, who's one of the world's greatest experts on applied artificial intelligence. And we talked about this issue, and we talked about a whole lot of other privacy issues. And I'll be posting that video pretty soon. And he was fascinating. And one of the things we talked about was the fact that there is so much data that if they chose to, Facebook, Google, et al. Have absolutely got the ability to find the bots and have the ability to locate the Russians, and they could all turn all those things off if they chose to. And we talked about what kind of choice that would involve. It was a very interesting discussion.
Awesome. Can't wait for it. I have one last one on worst, and it's just a call out, so I'm not going to really talk about it except to say that an article, a Gizmodo article by Kashmir Hill, illustrates It's Too Long Must Read, a lot of stories about when a stranger decides to destroy your life. It's chilling, it's horrible, but it is also something that we really need to pay attention to, because mob mentality on the internet is real. We've cited many examples over the course of our podcast, and it's something that we need to at least think about and be aware of, if not trying ways to mitigate against it. So
does that bring us to politics?
It brings us to shiny new stuff. You're just really ready to go with the politics.
I'm ready to go because I got a good one. Okay, well, shiny new stuff. One of them is something that I'm wearing. This is a Rode ID, and it's an alternative to a medic alert. And I can tell you from personal experience, nobody looks at medic alerts. This one's hard to miss, though, because it's pink. And you can have it in any bright color that you want. And what it has is basically my emergency contact information and a link to all of one's medical information and contacts. It was initially created for runners and bikers and people who might be out there without ID, but having been in an accident myself, and I was knocked out, and had I not woken up, I would have been Jane Doe in a hospital. And this woman who told me about it, her sister was in a bicycle accident, and she was Jane Doe in a hospital in a coma. And so now I got one, she got one. I'm getting them from my family, and they're cool looking besides, so that helps.
Very cool. Are they Wi-Fi enabled?
No. It's actually a metal tag and it has, you can have different kinds of bracelets. and
Oh,
you can
so it's
have,
just got the stuff, whatever printed on the metal tag.
but it's got emergency contact information on that tag, because even if you have your phone, if your phone's locked, nobody can help you.
Yeah, right. That's
So
cool.
my phone is iced. I have all my contacts on it, but you can't get to them.
Yep, yep, very good. Mine is a tool that I haven't tried out yet, caveat, but it's free and I'm going to try it out because I just discovered it today and I haven't had a chance to look at it, but it looks really cool. And it's called Funnelytics. It is for creating marketing funnels. So you can do funnel mapping on it. You can kind of mind map your funnel mapping and visualize it with a click of a button or clicks of a button. You can do funnel customization, so you can map everything from your landing page to sales pages, upsells, emails, ads, anything you need. It has templates. There's 6 core funnel templates you can use to start off. You can share your funnels, so you can share with a team to make sure everybody stays up to date, and then you can export them. So you can export them as PNG files if you need to share them with a client or anything. Plus, it's 100% free, comma, forever. So says the website. So I assume that they're going to be having add-ons that you're going to pay for, but it looks like a pretty cool tool. So I'm going to try it out, and maybe I'll report back next week.
Okay.
You got another one?
I'm not going to do it.
All right.
I know I haven't tried it myself, so I'm not going to do it. I read about it, but I haven't tried it, so I'm not going to go there. But I do have a story that I think we do need to talk about, and I will get to it in just a second. And it is really it's just permeating the news at this moment, and it's about the Alex Jones protest. And what happened was that so far this week, 71,000 people on Twitter have decided to block Alan Jones, and this comes from an app by Alex Jones, comes from an app by Sharon Coulter, who describes herself as much nicer than that other Coulter. And she created an app that allows you to block ads from 709 companies, including the Fortune 500. And she said that she chose those companies because they likely represent the bulk of Twitter's ad revenue. And as companies, they're powerful and unintimidated enough to put real pressure on Twitter's own leadership. And many of these companies spend enough money on Twitter that they can reach out to high level staff members. And she said, since Jack isn't listening to users right now, I'm hoping he'll listen to his advertisers. And finally, I feel it would neither be fair nor strategic to target smaller businesses in this action, so I focused on big players. And she said if they don't respond, she will call out a bigger list. And on Tuesday, Alex Jones was suspended for a week, like he got a timeout, like a little kid, for a link to a video that told his supporters to get out their battle rifles against media and others. That's in total violation of Twitter's rules about inciting violence. So on Wednesday, they followed up by suspending InfoWars account, and the problem is that they can still browse Twitter and send direct messages to their followers. So, it's an ongoing and not easy on any level issue. And the question really is who is supposed to be doing the monitoring. And, all of the other platforms have banished InfoWars. And so Jack Dorsey says he's rethinking how Twitter's going to work. And we'll see where that all goes. It's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, I hope he rethinks quickly, like before the midterms, because that'd be helpful.
Well, he needs to rethink. Facebook needs to rethink. Everybody needs to. Google. I mean, all of the social platforms need to rethink. And, that's quick. That's in a few weeks. So a move by users to make noise like that where it hurts, hitting them in the pocketbook, is definitely more likely to succeed than anything else I can really think of.
So this list of sites is Twitter's biggest advertisers. Is that what I'm?
That's correct.
Okay.
709 of them. And you go there and you sign into it. I'll have a link in the show notes, and you sign on to it, and then it blocks those in your account.
Okay. I have a funny political story. This is from
I'm glad there's still
CNET's.
such a thing.
This is from CNET's Richard Navia, I believe is how you pronounce it, and who writes about a Mike Pence site. When you search Mike Pence on Google, you'll find in the first page of results officialmikepence.com, which imagines Pence as president. It's an obvious parody site. The logo for the site is like a campaign sign that has Pence on top, and in smaller print below it is Christ, like it's his running mate, right? There's a red banner across the top of the site that asks, "Are you a homosexual? If yes, click here." And when you click on it, it goes to hell.com. So the whole site is very hilarious. It's exactly what you imagine a parody site for Mike Pence would be. And they've recut a bunch of video for the video on the site, having Mike Pence say, "Mike Pence, I'm president." So you have to see it, check it out. Do you have another political story?
No, but this really is it goes back to marketing people not buying all the URLs that they should be buying, because that wouldn't be possible if they owned all the right URLs. I wrote a story about that for Ad Age. I mean, the ignorance of the marketing teams is really showing when official MikePence.com could be available. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I have another one. This is pretty awesome. This is a Boing Boing article as well, who writes about a website called Woke Giant. So it's wokegiant.com, and it just features 1940s era retro styled political art, quote unquote, political art for third American century, unquote. So they are graphic illustrations in sort of World War II era style of American propaganda stuff. Think of Uncle Sam Wants You, that poster of Uncle Sam Wants You, or Rosie the Riveter, that are under a Creative Commons license that you can use for non-commercial use. But they have posters for the climate march. They've got posters for the science march. They have protest graphics that you can use when you're combating people with different political views online. One of which says, "Trump's team are like atoms; they make up everything." And then
that's great.
And another one is just a series of different colored circles. So there's a red, a white, and a blue circle, followed by the greater than sign, followed by an orange circle. So red, white, and blue is greater than orange. Which
let's hope so. But they're all in this style of World War II graphics.
Yeah,
40s and 50s graphics.
Awesomely done, yeah.
Oh, that's fabulous. I mean, I just really love that people take the time to do stuff like that. You wonder what else they're doing.
Well, it's people. I mean, this is political communication as it should be. It's like the MJ Hager video commercial that we discussed a couple of episodes ago.
But that was a real political ad. That ran on.
But this is political communication. They're making available for obviously liberals and Democrats to use in their online communication. So.
We need to get offline. We need to get out there and register voters. We need to get people to stop just bitching on social media and take real action, like register. I mean, my niece just turned 18. I'm so excited. One more.
Well, I mean, that's what they've got March posters, so they're contributing to the offline activism as well. So let's wrap this up. I got numbers from Buffer and BuzzSumo together, who partnered to analyze more than 43 million posts from the top 20,000 brands on Facebook for an in-depth study. And a couple of the top line conclusions: top pages have seen a 24% increase in the number of posts per quarter, from 6.5 million posts to 1 million posts over the past year. So there's been an increase in the number of posts per page. But engagement has dropped by more than 50% over the last 18 months. More posts, less engagement. They determined that posting 5 times per day appears to be the optimal Facebook posting frequency for your page. So in-depth study, we'll put a link to it in the show notes. It's well worth the read, but those are some of the top line highlights.
What did they say was optimal for Twitter, did they say?
It's just a Facebook study.
Or only Facebook, okay. I believe that brings us to the end of Beyond Social Media show number 239. And you will find all of the things we talked about with links to all of our original stories on beyondsocialmediashow.com/239. You will find us on online at beyondsocialmediashow.com. We're on Twitter as BS Media Show. We are on YouTube, Beyond Social Media Show. We are on iTunes, where we hope you will subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. We're on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and we're also on the Amazon device. Amazon Echo. And David Erickson is on Twitter as D. Erickson. He's on Instagram as D.E. Erickson, and he blogs at eStrategyBlog.com. And I am BL Ochman. I am on Twitter as What's Next. I blog at what'snextblog.com. I am What's Next Blog on YouTube. And we will be back next week and with episode 240 of Beyond Social Media Show. And we thank you for watching and listening.
Thanks for watching.